Hi girls, today I thought I'd take you through a basic dem for choc chip cookies which you can try at home whilst you're engaging in remote learning. It's a pretty simple one. The Year 7 girls will hopefully find it useful, but also the Year 9 and 10 girls who are doing food product development and working with creating their own biscuit recipe. So this is a good base to start with. Equipment that you'll need are things like mixing bowls, a spatula to mix or a wooden spoon. You'll need some measuring spoons, some measuring cups. You'll also need a tea towel, a baking tray with baking paper, and also a cooling rack for when they come out of the oven. So the first step to making cookies, you need to cream and soften butter and whisk that with some sugar. So your butter needs to be at room temperature. So take it out of the fridge, a good probably 20 minutes before you're ready to start. So just pop 150 grams of butter, okay, which is just over half a normal 250-gram block of butter. And it should be softened, as I said, so it just creams up a little bit better. Otherwise, it tends to fling around the bowl. You've got 150 grams of butter. You're also going to add 2 different types of sugar for your cookies. So the first one is brown sugar. So you've got half a cup. Remember, girls, to tap the edge of your measuring cup and scrape across. Brown sugar is a bit sticky, so it's a bit hard to do that. So pop in your half a cup of brown sugar. And you're also going to measure out half a cup of caster sugar. So caster sugar is a lot finer. Okay, so just be careful, same thing. Just pat it down a little bit, give it a shake and just make sure it's fairly level. Okay, and add to your butter mixture. You'll notice and probably hear my oven behind me as well, so your oven needs to be preheated to 180 degrees before we start. I'm just going to pop over behind me and cream the butter and the sugar together. I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so for this part, you need a electric mixer. So be really careful as an appliance. Make sure you've got supervision at home. In our bowl, we've just got our half cup of brown sugar and half cup of caster sugar and our 150 grams of butter. So you're going to beat that till it's nice and fluffy. Just stop halfway if you have to and just use your spatula and scrape the edges of your bowl. If you've got some of the sugar or butter sort of not combining in the middle. So just use your spatula, make sure you turn your beater off and then just do it again until your sugar and butter combines. Okay, so this is what our butter and sugar mixture should look like. So nice and soft, and what starts to happen is the sugar starts to dissolve a little bit in your butter. Okay, so back over this side. So again, just our sugar and our butter mixture here. What we're going to add next is a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So just make sure you're using the teaspoon, not the big tablespoon. So a teaspoon of vanilla extract or vanilla essence. And you're also going to add 1 egg. So with your egg, it's always a good idea to crack your egg into a separate bowl, because what can happen is, you by the off chance, get a bad egg. If you crack it straight into your mixture, you then ruin the whole batch. So crack it into a separate bowl first. Make sure you have no shell in there, okay, and then add it to your sugar, butter, vanilla, and now egg. Just give that a stir. You don't need to beat this again. We've done the beating and the creaming of the sugar and the butter. And this will all come together as well once we add our second last ingredient, which is our flour. So our flour, we really need to be careful when we're measuring out as well. Okay, so we have 1 3/4 of flour. So I'm going to use my 1 cup and I'm going to use my 1/4 cup. So 3/4, I'm going to do 3 of these as well as my 1 cup. So again, just be careful with your leveling out and your measuring of your flour. So fill your cup just like the video that we watched. Give it a little shake and tap, level it out and scrape the top. So that's our 1 cup. And then I'm going to do 3 of our 1/4 cups. Tap, 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 scrape the top. 1. Okay, so that should mix and combine together now into quite a sticky dough. And then the last thing that we add is obviously our chopped chips too. So we should be using about 1/2 cup of chopped chips. Some girls might like to use things like M&Ms and those sorts of things. Year 9 and 10 girls know not to use anything with nuts, so we can't have anything with chocolate coated peanuts or hazelnut Nutella, anything like that. Okay, so your dough should come together. It'll be quite sticky in some parts and dry in others, so it takes a little while for it to come together. And it should actually just come away from the edge of your bowl, and you might actually need to, with really, really clean hands, get your hands in here to get the dough to come together. The other thing too is that temperature can make a massive impact on our butter. So if it's a cool day or you've got a really cool bench top, our nice softened butter can actually go quite firm. So I'm just going to wash my hands and get this dough together, starting to come together. I'm just going to wash my hands and get my hands in there. Okay, I'm back. So nice clean hands, really good idea to take your jewelry off if you can. And then just get your hands into the bowl because the temperature of the palm of your hand sometimes can help with the butter as well. So it should come together really, really nicely and be a beautiful cookie dough. Okay, so it should come together like that and come away from the sides of your bowl. There basically should be nearly nothing left in your bowl. So the last thing is to add your choc chips. So about 1/2 cup. Feel free to measure them or you can go crazy and add an extra little bit. So about 1/2 cup, and I've only got a tiny bit left, so I'm actually going to add the rest. Never mind, I'm sure my kids won't complain. Okay, and then same thing, just nice clean hands, massage them through. If you don't sort of get that even distribution, you have some people sitting next to you who are quite envious because they've got extra chocolate chips. So just massage that through in your dough, really nice clean hands, as I said. And then the other thing that you can do is if you do this in advance and you think, oh, you know, what the heck, I'm going to make a double batch, okay? This cookie dough actually, nice clean bench obviously, this cookie dough freezes really quite well as well. So what you can do is you can actually roll it out, and you can even do this to, you know, cut sort of like your cookie sort of shapes today if you want to too. So you can make a log first, and then what you can do is give it a roll, make it somewhat circular, tap the ends in, and then just using a butter knife, it doesn't even need to be a sharp knife. Everything that you'll notice that my bench is a bit cleared now, so everything that you don't need, get rid of it sort of as soon as you can. So just a butter knife, and what you should be able to do is you should be able to cut some discs. So this should make anywhere from about, depending on the size of your cookies obviously, so that size is quite nice. So you might get close to about, I don't know, 18 cookies. Okay, so onto your baking tray that's lined with baking paper. Okay, if you don't want to roll it into a log on your bench because it just sort of doesn't seem to work for you, you can. I'll show you what to do for the next. The other option is if you just had a ball of cookie dough, you can simply just roll them and place them onto your tray, and then later on you can go through and just press them down with the palm of your hand. So it might be a good idea just to maybe even run your knife through just to get some portions. Whatever works for you, there's no right or wrong. Okay, so keep rolling. You probably need 2 baking trays. I've got one ready and the other one I have ready up on the side here. Okay, so you do need to give them a press down, otherwise they will be quite high and turn out like big rock cakes or something. So roll them, press them, just so that they're fairly even in size. You should get at least probably 9 cookies to a tray. Amount. So that's probably about right because I cut up pretty much half my log of cookie dough. Fairly good, fairly consistent in size. If you've got cookie cutters are great too. So you can cut, gorgeous little shapes out of your cookie cutters. Okay, and then repeat the same with your other tray. It's tray number 2. Anyone wants to make a chocolate chopped chip cookie, that's also another option, and all you'd have to add is a small teaspoon or tablespoon of cocoa powder. But what you might find with that is that because you've added that extra dry ingredient, you may actually need to add, a small amount of milk or something like that. Or you can cut back the amount of plain flour and take out a tablespoon of your plain flour. We don't need jumbo cookies. Okay, we want them to cook nice and evenly. So the only way that you're going to get them to cook nice and evenly is obviously the position in the oven, but the size of your cookies matters. Okay, so roughly about the same size. Okay, so these go into the oven, okay, for a good 8 to 10 minutes, depending on how well your oven's been preheated, and then I'll show you what they look like when they come out. Okay, so once your timer goes off on your oven, using an oven mitt, really carefully pull your trays out of the oven and pop them onto the top of your stove. Turn your oven off and your timer off, and then really carefully, if you can slide your cookies off onto a cooling rack, just so that they can cool down a little bit before we serve them. That's it. Just for a moment, just let them cool down, and then we can plate for service. There you have it. Yummy afternoon treat, chopped chip cookies. I hope you enjoyed the prep, girls. Good luck in the kitchen.